kind of paint BMW uses for your steering wheel and the radio buttons and stuff. It's like a plastic dip. It's one of the cheapest paints that you can get. Look at this. Comes off like nothing. I didn't even do anything. I didn't even spray anything, nothing. It just comes right off. Look. Crazy. I like how a lot of videos when they have this, they just to put the material on it, and it's like, oh, look at that, it's all there, it's all stuck, you know, you don't have to do anything. No, you still have to do all this crap, and you have to wait at least 6 to 12 hours depending on the weather. Right now it's kind of cold, so I'm gonna leave it overnight, make sure it dries 100%, and then tomorrow we'll do the epoxy first layer, and then we'll start cutting. So do the epoxy. Since I'm not in a hurry, wait another 12 to 24 hours depending on, you know, how it's gonna go, if I'm gonna have time or not to get to it, and then we'll just do a couple more layers. And right now this is what it looks like. Actually, I like it, it's not bad. These will come out after it dries, but after we do the epoxy though. That's it, just leave it like that. So I detached these two already. I almost forgot where I had the screws. So really important, wear a mask, have vacuum going, and face shield. So now, like I said, I already detached. I have two pieces. This one can go garbage or just whatever. So I'm gonna start tracing on the inside, starting cutting. So I'm gonna start cutting like a lot, and then when I get like a maybe 1/4 of an inch, less than a 1/4 of an inch from the plastic, I'm gonna start to either take a file or something and start doing use a file, because like right here you can see already there's not much left, but this one needs to be cut out. Then I'm gonna wet sand and do one more layer. So let's cut this. And by the way, don't be scared to like scratch this side or anything like that. You can literally take like a 60 grade sandpaper, sand it down, and then apply the epoxy, and it's gonna be fine. So you don't have to do like a 60 degree 100 or, you know, keep going up. You can do just straight up like really hard sandpaper or whatever. But like in this case, I probably wouldn't do 60. That's way too much, because you can see how uneven it is because of the wheel is sticking out just a little bit. So we'll see. I'm probably gonna do 320, but we'll see. I still have to cut a lot. So another really good tool that I picked up for something like this is these drill bits right here. These are special drill bits for stuff like this. I honestly forgot what they're called. So they're really good to be cutting stuff like this here. Since I can't really go in with this, I'm gonna cut it too much. I'm gonna attach one of these and start. So I'm gonna start from this side right in the middle, and then start cutting around, and probably gonna do the same thing here because I still have a lot. And again, it's really not that easy to be cutting in here because it doesn't fit inside. So I know it's not perfect, but still working on it. So like I said, drill in the middle, and then I can start tracing the plastic on the inside. So I'm gonna do both sides, probably the whole thing, and then I'll just come back and show you what it looks like. This is exactly why I said you need the mask. Look at this. I usually do this during the day outside, but I've been busy at work for a couple of days now, and I really want to get this thing done. So here's what it looks like now. Coming around, kind of looks like what it's supposed to look like, but again, still not done on the inside here. Same thing on these here. I'm gonna get the file and start to filing on the inside. I scratched this a little bit right here, but again, that's just nothing. Looking more like it's supposed to look like. So here's the thing. I'm not gonna go too crazy about the edges to make it look perfect, because I'm gonna do a couple more layers of epoxy anyways, and I know I'll have to redo the edges. So I got as close as I want them. Like I said, you can see they're not perfect, but that's how I want them right for now. So another thing is the gloves. Wear the gloves, because this is this fiberglass. It's gonna get into your skin, and it's gonna itch for I don't know, 2-3 days. So I'm not gonna do this today, probably tomorrow. So I'll show you the update. So once you wet sand it, you're not gonna get it perfect. You can see, like, some spots it's shiny, some spots it's dull. So if you keep on using sandpaper, you're gonna mess up the whole thing. So what I usually do is I use the sandpaper, get as much like a high spots as I can, and then I get one of these. Honestly, don't even know what it's called, but it's like a spongy sandpaper or something, and then just start sandpaper or sanding it down. So let's say, look at this area here. See? And pretty much do the whole thing, because when you do epoxy, it's pretty much like a glue. You have to prep the surface, make sure it's like scuffed up, clean, and then do the epoxy, because if you don't, there chances are you're gonna get air bubbles inside, or not necessarily air bubbles, but you're gonna get, it's not gonna stick. That's what I'm saying, trying to say. So I'm gonna do the whole thing, and then we'll do epoxy. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and do it today. I thought I'm not gonna have time to do it, but I'm gonna epoxy it today. I cleaned everything. I think I said earlier that I'm gonna throw this away. I don't need it, but I do need this. So the reason why is I'm gonna put this back on, and when I start doing epoxy again, I have a stand for it. Versus when I put this on a flat surface, if this side's gonna be touching whatever it's sitting on, it's gonna mess up the whole thing, and then it's gonna be hard to clean it. Versus when it's like this, the whole thing is in the air. So again, I cleaned it. You know, you can still see like the color difference, but it's alright because it's still scuffed up. As long as it has like a scuff marks inside where the different color is. So again, put this back on, and let's go and epoxy this, and how to clean it here. It's been 3 days, I think. You don't have to wait 3 days, but it's been 3 days because I've been busy at work, and this thing's been sitting, waiting for me. You can probably see some imperfection, which is normal. So I'm gonna take it off, and I'll talk about what I would have done differently. I'll kind of rush into it, I guess, but like I said, let me take it off, and I'll be right back. I cleaned it with the cleaners, and it lost a little bit of shine, but it's alright. So you guys can't see how shiny it is because of there's no natural light. That's why I hate doing stuff at night. You're not getting enough lighting. So what I'm gonna do, I'll wet sand this, see if I like it. If it's not gonna have like this little imperfections left, then I can go ahead and clear coat it. But if it does, then I'm gonna wet sand, then do epoxy one more time, and then wet sand and buff it. Clear coat it. So what I was talking about, remember I said leave these edges a little longer. So I didn't. I cut them pretty close, and the reason why you want to do that is, see now when I did one more layer of epoxy starts to come out on this side, and now you have to clean all this stuff. Versus if I had the lip sticking out a little bit, I just cut the lip and you're done, like all the way around. So something to know in the future when I do next one or something else, or if you guys try to do something like this, keep in mind, leave just a little bit of a lip, so when you do epoxy, you don't have to clean the inside again and mess up and all that stuff. So again, I'm gonna wet sand it, and we'll come back later and I'll tell you what's the verdict is. I wet sand some, and I used actually 320 grit sandpaper with the water. It's a lot easier with the water because if you're not using the water, you start wet sanding and your sandpaper will start all messed up and gunked up. So again, I wet sand it. I like the way it looks, but it still has like really low areas. Some on this side, some on this side. This isn't too bad like down here, because once it's on the car you can't really see it, but I really don't want to just leave it like that. So I'm gonna wet sand a little more, and I'm definitely gonna do one more layer just to try to make it look perfect. I don't know. But like I said, it's actually coming out pretty good. Not as bad as I thought. Okay, so I wet sand a little more, but I don't want to wet sand too much, because once you get down to the actual material, the carbon fiber weave, you can mess up the whole thing. So here's the thing. Once you start wet sanding, your water is going to be clean, kind of like a foggy, but once you get into the actual, like I said, material, the carbon fiber weave, it's going to start getting black. So once it starts to get black, like black water, dirty, whatever, stop, because you're getting into that thing. Right now, I'm going to dry this and see where the low spots are, where I didn't get with the sandpaper. I'm going to use this one, clean it up, scuff it, and do one more layer of epoxy. So, and then that's probably going to be the last one. A lot of people, when they do videos, they show like a 2, 3, 4 layers. Don't do 2, 3 layers at a time, because once you do one layer, like when you do, when you lay down the fiberglass weave on it, you can do 2 layers. Do one layer, wait till it gets kind of tacky, and then do second layer. But once it dries, you wet sand, like this one right now, I'm gonna do just one layer. Because if I do one layer, wait for it to get tacky and do another layer, it's gonna mess up the whole thing. So at least in my case, I tried like, I don't know how many times, but every time I try it, it just messes up the whole thing. So it's better once you do, like once you get to this point, just do one layer. If you have to do wet sand and lay another one, then wet sand, lay another one, till you get it perfect or till you're happy with it. So what was I going to do? Yeah, this. Okay, so here we go. By the way, there's gonna be some, maybe a lot of talking, I don't know, but the main reason why I'm making this video, I'm trying to help you guys to get an idea what do you really have to do, like step by step. I mean, hopefully I'm not missing anything, but I've seen a lot of videos when people do this, and I really don't want to do one of those videos when I just laid the carbon fiber, did the epoxy, wet sand, clear coat, done. There's a lot of things going on behind that, all that stuff, because like I said, you have to wait. When you lay the carbon fiber, I usually wait 6+ hours, depending on the weather, depending on if it's cold, if it's hot, you're doing outside, inside, whatever. But if you wait less than 6 hours, the whole thing's come off. Because I would lay the carbon fiber, right? wait like a couple hours, 2-3 hours, and then start doing epoxy. As soon as you start doing epoxy, the whole material just starts coming up, and that's not good because once it's off, you're gonna start getting bubbles underneath, and it's gonna be wavy. There's no way, you can't really fix that. So once you do you put the carbon fiber down, wait at least 6 hours. Like I said, I usually wait 6 hours to 12 hours, or just leave it overnight. And this way you know it's 100% done. And then in the morning, I wet sand it. Excuse me. I wet sand it, do epoxy, and then before I go to sleep or whatever, I wet sand it and do whatever needs to be done. So here's the thing. I wet sand it, like I already said, 20 times. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's some spots are shinier than the others. That's because there's no epoxy on some of the spots. I literally wet sand the epoxy off the whole thing, which is fine. As long as you don't go all the way down. It still has carbon fiber, and we can fix that. Just like if you're using 320 sandpaper, like right now, if you clear coat this, it's gonna look like crap. But if I put epoxy on it, it's gonna be fine. Even if I do 60 grit. This is like, I don't know if you guys used sandpaper before, but once you do 60 grit, it scratches the crap out of everything. And you can literally use this and put epoxy on it, and you're gonna be fine. So I'm gonna take this inside the house, do epoxy inside, since it's cold outside in the garage, and my epoxy doesn't stink. Well, usually these epoxies, they don't stink. So okay, well, let's go back inside. Here's what I use for my epoxy. This is a marine grade that comes. This one comes with 2 parts. Part A, part B. This is hardener. This is actual epoxy, and you have to use. I usually use 4:1. Scale. Cups, you can reuse them. Brushes, I get these ones at Harbor Freight. They're like, I think $10 for 20 of them or something like that. Sturdy stick, and I use torch. So here's the thing. I've seen people use heat gun, but I tried using a heat gun. But once you use the heat gun, the way the heat gun works, it actually blows the hot air. Once you starts blowing the air onto the epoxy, it starts to spread, and I don't like it. It just messes out the whole thing. So I use the heat gun, put it on the low setup, and then be careful because you can't torch or burn the epoxy and leave like a yellow marks in it. So and this used to, you know, get the air bubbles out. Clean again with the 70%, yeah. And let's do it. So once you get the epoxy going, it's gonna have a lot of bubbles in it. So I usually just wait. It's not gonna get hardened in like 5 minutes. So I just wait a couple minutes. I've seen some people put this inside like a hot water, and it gets the bubbles out, but whatever, I'm not in a rush. So the reason why I use this one, this epoxy, I didn't mention this. Oh, by the way, it's not cheap epoxy. This one is 100 and something. I forgot the price, and it doesn't have a price tag on it, but it's a little over 100 bucks. I think 150 bucks for both. But from what I used before, I got one of the cheap ones on eBay, and it works fine, it works perfect. But once it dries and everything, you take it out in the sun, and it sits under the sun. If it's like around 80 or 90 degrees, it starts melting. It starts like getting all soft. This one is actually, it stays rock solid. The only thing is, most of the epoxies, they don't have UV protection. So if you're doing something that is going to be out in the sun, like on a steering wheel, it's not going to be out in the sun 100% of the time, but it's going to see the sun. So I'm going to clear coat it with the UV protection, clear coat or whatever. I mean, they all have UV protection, but again, epoxy doesn't have it. So if you're using the epoxy, make sure it has UV protection, or you just clear coat it after it's done. So I'm going to wait for the bubbles to go away and start applying. Well, I did the epoxy. There's still some bubbles here and there. I can't take them out, but we'll see what it looks like after it dries. I'm gonna wet sand. One of the things to kind of watch out is once it starts dripping on the edges, you can take a brush and just brush it off, because it's gonna be a lot harder later once it dries and you have like a freaking big ass thingy coming down. Blob of epoxy. Well, like I said, it looks actually pretty good. What's up? What's up? So, another update. Already what's in it. You can see there's still some imperfections, but this is something that I can live with. It's fine. This is what I was talking about when I said you're gonna get these drips and then you have to clean it up. I already cleaned this side just a little bit, but it needs a lot of work to do the edges cleaned up. You can see right there needs to be cleaned up. So like I said, definitely next time I'm gonna leave the edges a little more, so it's gonna be just cut and be done. So clean it up. This time I'm gonna be using this and then probably just sandpaper, and we'll see how it goes. So finally, and this is why I said wear a mask, because this here, you don't want all this inside your lungs. So I used filer, I used knife, sandpaper, finally got the edges. And again, I know I said this 100 times, but next time I am leaving bigger lip. I'm gonna wet sand again with the 2000 and see what happens. I'm not 100% liking this, but it's alright. I can't make it like a factory looking cover. Well, this is it. I'm about to clear coat this and let's see what it looks like. It's gonna dry. I'm gonna set up my paint booth and I'll show you what it looks like after I clear coat it. So this is what it looks like. Needs to dry, and hopefully I don't have to wet sand. Final product, I guess. So here's the thing. I kind of rushed into it when I clear coated. I didn't wait for it to dry and just took it home. You got a couple spots with like a dust on it, so I had to wet sand, buff it. But I didn't do a video buffing and everything. I'm pretty sure you guys know how it goes. So here's the thing. I was going to put this on a car first, but mine has this M logo in it. So I was thinking I'll do this, put it on. While I have this on, I'll make this. But my friend wants to buy this one, so I don't want to put this on. And another thing, to take the steering wheel off, in the back it has two screws to pop the airbag, and they're sealed. They're factory sealed, and I really don't want to break the seal. But let me show you what it looks like. Hopefully you guys can see it with the lighting. But I was worried. I wasn't sure how thick it's gonna come out, but this is factory. So this is how the factory looks. You can see the way the button comes up all the way out, and this here with the carbon, it doesn't come up as high, but I like this way though, because with this one, I don't know, it just sticks out a bit too much versus this one. So this is pretty much what it's gonna look like. So maybe in the future I'll do carbon here and carbon here, but we'll see. This is another thing that I made a while back. I have to wet sand and clear coat it. This is from E36, E39. The top part, like this one right here, goes here. This is here's the thing. This is one of the aftermarket cheap, whatever they call, like a stick-on. I bought this just to see what it's gonna look like. It fits alright, but it doesn't cover the whole thing. So I don't know. But these, I think they're like 150, 160 bucks. For those of you who's been following me on the build of this car, I'll have update in the next video as far as the turbos go. For now, there's nothing. So that's it. The usual routine BS. Like, subscribe, comment. See you next time.